As Pleasant Grove comes up here, we'll recap everything here for you. As Easton Walker, the pitcher for Pleasant Grove, flew out to center. Ben Eldridge hitting in the 2 spot tonight for Pleasant Grove, reached on an error and then stole second base. Peyton Henry, the catcher, flew out to right. Jade Smoot just walked as we're in the top of the first and no score. And the first pitch is away for a strike to Braden Scott. So we'll give you the Pleasant Grove lineup here. It will be Easton Walker, the pitcher, Ben Eldridge, the second baseman, batting second. Peyton Henry, the catcher, batting third. Jade Smoot, the DH, hits fourth. Braden Scott, the left fielder, hits fifth. Chase Merrill in right field, hitting sixth. Brody Blackhurst, the first baseman, bats seventh. Zach Peterson, the center fielder, hitting eighth. And Matthew Wild, the shortstop, rounds out the lineup for the Vikings, who were the #1 seed from region number 4 this year. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count here to Braden Scott as we welcome you back inside Brent Brown Ballpark on the campus of Utah Valley University for this final elimination game. The winner plays for the state championship tomorrow, and we'll meet Jordan at 1:30 p.m. That's the scheduled first pitch right now. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and fouled back to Braden Scott, and Scott will go 1 ball and 2 strikes. As we thank you for tuning in tonight on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. It's great to have you with you as we have a perfect night for baseball. A few clouds kind of out there in the sky for this final game tomorrow morning. First pitch, 11 a.m. of the 4A state championship between Spanish Fork and Bountiful. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runner goes again. The throw over this time. Eldridge is going to be caught. He gets back around the tag that was not applied by Frankie Aguilar. So earlier in the inning, Eldridge got a great jump off Pete Nielsen to steal second base. Nielsen didn't even really see that the runner was going until he was 90% to, well, probably about 50%. He turned and threw to first instead of second, and getting in there was Eldridge. He tried to do the same thing there, but this time Nielsen saw him and threw it over to Collinswood at third base. So 1 ball and 2 strikes the count here to Braden Scott, and time called, and Scott will step out of the batter's box. We'll give you the defense here for Layton. It will be Caleb Harrup at first base, Edgar Aguilar at second, over at third, Braden Collinwood. Frankie Aguilar will be at short, Quentin Marcelin in left, as Nielsen will step off the mound here. In center field tonight, it's going to be Rusty Wilbert. In right, Josephat Chavez. And behind the plate will be Brady Jewell. So a very similar and identical lineup to game 1 for Layton. In fact, I honestly don't think there was any changes. 1 ball, 2 strike. The count comes home. Swung on and popped up by Scott. And this is going to go foul, and we'll redo the 1-2 pitch again. Layton wearing their dark blue tops with white pants. Pleasant Grove in the all-white uniforms. We're in the top half of the first inning here. Pleasant Grove and Layton playing for the opportunity to play Jordan for a state championship. 1 ball and 2 strikes, set, ready to go. And Pete Nielsen on the mound delivers home. That one comes inside and almost hits Braden Scott, but it will stay a little bit off the plate for a ball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the first. Nielsen set, working from the stretch. And the delivery comes home. Swung out and missed, strike 3. And that's the 3rd out of the first inning. So Pleasant Grove gets 2 on in the top half of the first, and they strand them as we head to the bottom of the first here at Brent Brown Ballpark on the campus of Utah Valley University. It's Pleasant Grove 0 and Layton coming to bat. You're listening to 2014 Class 4A or Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Bottom half of the first inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. And the Layton Lancers coming up here in the bottom of the first. They will bat a very similar lineup here. We'll give it to you as we go. As ball one is delivered home to the leadoff hitter for Layton. That is going to be Caleb Harrup, who is at the plate. The 1-0 pitch to Harrup is in there for a called strike, and it's 0-1. One ball and one strike, and the delivery on its way comes swung on and missed. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. On the mound tonight for Pleasant Grove, it's Easton Walker, the right-hander who has a 1 ball, 2 strike count against Caleb Harrup here, and the 1-2 pitch is swung on and fouled back. Josephat Chavez will bat in the 2 spot tonight. Quentin Marcelin hits third, and the 1-2 pitch is swung on and fouled away. Hitting fourth tonight for Layton is going to be Braden Collingwood. The 1-2 pitch on its way home to Harrup is outside for a ball, and the count will go even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch as Walker kicks and delivers home. Swung on, that one's lined into right field. Coming in and making the catch out there is going to be Chase Merrill, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. And that will bring up Josephat Chavez. Edgar Aguilar will hit in the 5 spot tonight for Layton. And the first pitch in there is a called strike to Josephat Chavez. The catcher, Brady Jewell, will hit 6th. And quickly, the 0-1 pitch is in there for a called strike, and it's 0-2 to Josephat Chavez. So Chavez down in the count 0-2. Walker kicks and delivers on the way, and that's high for a ball, and it's 1-2. Rusty Wilbert hits in the 7th spot. As the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed, strike 3. And there's 2 away here in the first. And that's going to bring up Quentin Marcelin to the plate here for Layton. Preston Day will hit in the 8th spot. And rounding out the order and batting 9th will be number 3, which is Frankie Aguilar. As the first pitch to Marcelin breaks back over the inside corner for a called strike, and it's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike as Walker kicks and delivers home the 0-1 pitch. That one bounces in the dirt for a ball, and we're even at 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball and 1 strike. Walker set once again, gets the sign, and will deliver home the 1-1 pitch. That's away for a ball, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Defensively for the Vikings, in the outfield, Braden Scott in left, Zach Peterson in center, Chase Merrill in right. The 1-2 pitch, a called strike, and we're even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the infield, it's going to be Matthew Wild at short, Ben Eldridge at second, Brody Blackhurst at first. Behind the plate is Peyton Henry. That one swung on and popped up foul. And we'll redo the 2-2. I had number 28 down for Pleasant Grove is playing third. That's Logan Bullock is playing third base tonight for the Vikings, but not hitting. And the 2-2 pitch as bounces to the backstop, and the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes here to Quentin Marcelin. So the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. And Walker delivers the 3-2 on the outside corner for a called strike 3. As Walker strikes out 2 in the top of the first, we have played 1 complete inning at Brent Brown Ballpark. It's Pleasant Grove and Layton tied at 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Top half of the second inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. The Pleasant Grove Vikings coming up here. It'll be Chase Merrill, Brody Blackhurst, and Zach Peterson. 6, 7, and 8 coming up here against Pete Nielsen. And Nielsen set from the windup and delivers his first pitch home, and that's going to be over for a called strike. And it's 0-1 to Chase Merrill. Merrill hitting from the right side, wearing number 7. And the 0-1 pitch, Nielsen sets and kicks and delivers. That one swung on to right and fouled away. It's quickly 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes to the Pleasant Grove right fielder. As the outfield for Layton will play straight away, infield at regular depth. The 0-2 pitch on the outside corner. And it's just going to be off the plate for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. And the kick and the delivery home to Merrill. Swung on and chopped lined right to second base. And Edgar Aguilar is there to make the catch, and there's 1 out. So 1 out in the second, and that's going to bring up Brody Blackhurst to the plate. Blackhurst will wear number 44 and will stand in here from the left side of the plate. Nielsen sets, kicks, and delivers home the first pitch. Stays high for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Zach Peterson, the center fielder, awaits on deck. 1 ball and no strikes. Nielsen set, kicks, and delivers on the way. And that one swung on and fouled straight back, and it's 1-1. Pleasant Grove has had to play games all week long. They lost in the first game of the playoffs, and that put him in the elimination bracket. And the 1-1 pitch swung on and missed. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Blackhurst. So they have had to play games all this week. They've played Hillcrest in 1. They beat Fremont in 1. Beat Taylorsville, Copper Hills, and also Bingham last night to advance to here. The 1-2 pitch on its way, swung on and hit out to right. Chavez going back, he's not going to get there. Going around first is Blackhurst. He's going to go in to second base with a stand-up double. And Pleasant Grove, for the second straight inning, puts a runner on second base here with 1 out in the inning. And that's going to bring up Zach Peterson, the center fielder. And if I'm playing in a state tournament, you know, sometimes, or a lot of times in the state tournament, it doesn't necessarily matter who's got the best team, but who's playing at the right time. While being in the top part of the bracket would be nice, you don't have to play as many games. Getting on a consistent hot streak, like it seems like Pleasant Grove has been coming through these playoffs, might deem to be something very nice for the Vikings after having played all week. They stay sharp and they've been playing well. And the pitch comes high and tight for a ball to Zach Peterson. It's 1-0. Layton won their way through the top part of the bracket. Their only loss came in the game before this one to Jordan. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Nielsen working from the stretch. Checks the runner at second base, Blackhurst. and delivers home. That one's lined back up the middle. It's going to fall in front of Wilbert. So getting down to third will be Blackhurst. And the Vikings have runners on the corners here with one away. And the ninth hole hitter, Matthew Wild, coming to the plate. So Wild will see what he can do as Brady Jewell will go and let the Lancers know of the defensive alignments here. Frankie and Edgar Aguilar up the middle, letting them know who might take second base if Peterson takes off here. With one out, Matthew Wild in. Nielsen working from the stretch, delivers. Runner goes first pitch. The throwdown is going to go in on a hop, but won't get Peterson. And so the Vikings have put runners now on second and third. A 1-0 count coming here to Matthew Wild, and Zach Peterson calls time and will kind of walk off something as he's limping after the slide. So the Vikings a chance here to draw first blood, so to say, with Brody Blackhurst running on at first and Zach Peterson running on at second. Signs being given now to Matthew Wild, who comes up with a 1-ball, no-strike count. It's the pitcher Easton Walker on deck for Pleasant Grove. 1 ball and no strikes. Time called, and stepping out of the box will be Matthew Wild. Winner of this one gets Jordan at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon, right here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Whoever wins this one will have to beat Jordan twice tomorrow to win the state championship. And that's swung on and missed by Wild, and it will even the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. So the count's even, 1 ball and 1 strike here. It looks like Layton is playing shallow on the infield. They might try to cut down the early run here. If it's hit right at someone on the infield, the 1-1 pitch on its way home. Swung on, that one's hit out to right. Chavez is going to have to go back to the warning track. He's going to make the catch, and it looks like he dropped it. He drops it in right. Blackhurst scores, and Matthew Wild is going to be on first base here. Be interesting to see here whether they're going to give him an error. And it looks like they're going to actually give a base hit there. We're still waiting to get the official word, actually. Anyway, Blackhurst scores. It's 1-0 Vikings. Zach Peterson gets to third, and Matthew Wild gets on at first here. And now we're going to have a conversation here. I don't know at this point how they would rule it if it was an out, if they make the runners return back to first and second, because in an ideal world, if Chavez makes that catch in right, the runners would have tagged. In an ideal world, that's likely what would have happened. Chavez, when he caught it, had his back towards the infield. And it looks like right now everything's going to stand. So Wild will be on first. Still waiting to see if there's an official ruling on that, whether that was a hit or an error. And we'll wait and see here, as that's going to go back to the top of the lineup, and Easton Walker will come up. So the important fact of the matter isn't that if it's a hit or an error. It's that Pleasant Grove has a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second inning. And they will officially give Chavez an E9, so it will go down as an error. And Easton Walker to come up, who's 0 for 1 tonight. He flew out to center in the first. He takes low for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. So 1 ball, no strikes the count. Runners sit on the corners for Pleasant Grove. Zach Peterson running at third, and Matthew Wild running over at first base. 1 ball and no strikes. Nielsen sets and delivers home, and that's going to be swung on, hit right to first. It's scooped by Harpold, who touches first. The throw down to second hits the runner in the back, and so scoring on the play will be Zach Peterson. Matthew Wild advances to second, as Harp there fielded that one, easily able to touch first, but his throw just hits Matthew Wild square in the back. And so Wild advances to second, and now that's going to bring up, Ben Eldridge, the center fielder, or the second baseman. Eldridge is officially 0 for 1 tonight, reached on an error, and then stole second base. And the first pitch he takes is on the outside corner for a called strike, and it's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to count on Ben Eldridge. Outfield playing pretty square away with 2 away. A big hole on that right side. If Eldridge could knock one through there, as Edgar Aguilar will now cover that up. The 0-1 pitch swung on and fouled back, and it's 0-2. Edgar Aguilar at second base likes to come over and play just a couple of feet off the bag, pretty close, I think, to try to hold Matthew Wild from getting too big a lead. And then as the pitch comes, he will actually run back into a normal positioning on the infield. The 0-2 pitch on its way is just off the plate for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ben Eldridge. One ball and 2 strikes with 2 away. And Set checks the runner and kicks and delivers. And that one swung on and fouled back. It's 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to count here to Ben Eldridge. With 2 gone here in the bottom of the first inning. Top of the second inning. And Pete Nielsen working from the stretch. Comes set on the mound, delivers the 1-2. Swung on, hit to short. It's going to be bobbled again by Aguilar. His throw high and up over the first baseman's head. Coming around to score will be Matthew Wild. Going into second will be Ben Eldridge. So Frankie Aguilar at short once again bobbled the ball, and then his throw was way over Harrop at first base, and it's 3-0 Pleasant Grove on 3 errors by Layton. The second time tonight, Ben Eldridge has reached on an error by Frankie Aguilar, and with 2 outs, Peyton Henry, the catcher for Pleasant Grove, coming up. Henry is 0 for 1. He flew out to right field in his first at-bat. Set and deliver the pitch. That one comes up and in for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes to count. Jade Smoot in the on-deck circle for the Vikings, who have put 3 here in the second inning. 1 ball, no strike count on the catcher. Nielsen sets, checks the runner, and delivers home, and that one's going to sit just a little bit high, maybe off the plate, and it's 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes to count on Peyton Henry. Set working from the stretch, and the 2-0 pitch. Swung on, that one's lined to right. Is it going to stay fair? It will just go foul, and it's going to be 2 balls and a strike. It didn't miss, wasn't foul by too much there, but enough. And it'll be 2 balls and a strike on the catcher, Peyton Henry. Two balls and 1 strike to count. Henry flew out to right in his first at-bat back in the first inning. Wears number 15, a slight open stance in the box. And the 2-1 to pitch comes home. That's high, ball 3. And the count runs to 3 balls and a strike on Peyton Henry. So a good hitter's count here. The outfield will play pretty straight away. 3 balls and 1 strike. And here comes the 3-1 pitch. Ready to go, and the delivery on its way home. Low, ball 4. And so Pleasant Grove will have 2 men on here in the second inning. And now it's going to send Jade Smoot, the designated hitter, up to the plate here. 3 runs in here in the top of the second for Pleasant Grove. And we're going to have a runner over at first base. It's going to be Gavin Barr, number 4, to run for Peyton Henry. So some extra speed on the base pass here if you're Pleasant Grove. And the first pitch on its way to Smoot is high for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. 1 ball and no strikes the count. Smoot walked back in his first at bat. Running on at second base, Ben Eldridge. Gavin Barr running over at first for Pleasant Grove. And time called, and stepping out of the box here. Trying to see why time was called. We're going to have a quick visit here to the mound for Layton. This is an elimination game of the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament. Whoever loses this one, their season will come to an end. The winner has at least one more game tomorrow where they will take on the Jordan Beat Diggers, who were victorious over Layton earlier in the day. And really, whoever wins this one tonight has to win twice tomorrow against Jordan. Winning a game for a state title is hard enough, much less having to win 2 in one day. The first game of the day will be the 4A state championship game. You can see that game right here on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Spanish Fork takes on Bountiful, as Spanish Fork is in the same position as whoever wins this one. They have to beat Bountiful twice tomorrow. Not going to be an easy task for any team going through and having to win twice to win a state championship. So 1 ball and no strikes the count to Jade Smoot. Smoot set, ready to go, and the 1-0 pitch is on its way out. It's swung on line, down the right field line for a base hit. It's going to roar the wall. Eldridge will score. They're going to hold Barr at third, and Smoot on with an RBI double. And right now, Pleasant Grove has brought the bats tonight, and they lead this one 4-0 here in the second inning. And so now that's going to bring up Braden Scott, the left fielder. Scott is 0 for 1 tonight, struck out swinging back in the first. And now with a couple of men on, Pleasant Grove a chance to extend their lead here on a base hit. Nielsen is set from the windup here. With 2 outs and the runner on third, and the delivery on its way home to Scott is low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Scott is the 9th hitter to come to the plate here in the second for Pleasant Grove. Chase Merrill in the on-deck circle led off the inning with a line out to second baseman Edgar Aguilar. And the 1-0 pitch comes inside, and it hits Braden Scott. And so the bases are now full of Vikings here in the second inning, and Chase Merrill will come to the plate. So bases full, 2 outs, 4 runs for Pleasant Grove already in here in the second inning. And Chase Merrill's going to come to the plate. Merrill 0 for 1, lined out to Edgar to the second baseman, his first at bat. And the pitch is on its way home, and that's high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to Merrill. Up the middle, Layton playing normal depth all the way around the infield here. 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 pitch on its way. Merrill swings, lines that one into the right center field gap. Coming in to score will be Barr. Smoot right behind him. The throw is going to be cut off by Frankie Aguilar at short. And Pleasant Grove has taken a 6-0 lead here in the second inning. So a 2-run single there for Chase Merrill. And it's now 6-0 Pleasant Grove. And Brody Blackhurst is going to come to the plate here. Blackhurst will wear number 44. Will step in here. He doubled and scored a run here earlier in the second inning. And now runners sit on the corners here. Still 2 away. 3 runs in here in the inning with 2 outs. So Pleasant Grove has done a nice job tonight of 2-out hitting. Set, ready to go. The delivery comes in. Blackhurst grounds that one right past the first baseman. Far up into right field. Scoring on the play will be Braden Scott. And it's now 7-0. Pleasant Grove. Getting down to third was Chase Merrill. So credit Blackhurst with an RBI single, and Zach Peterson will come to a plate, and I think we're going to have a pitching change here for Layton, as their head coach is coming on out to the mound, and it would not surprise me here with 7 runs in if we see the pitching change come. And they're actually now moving towards the infield in their bullpen. No official word yet. 4 Layton errors here, and I think, I'm not 100% for sure, but I think they're actually going to get Harrop for an error on that last one. And they're going to stick with Pete Nielsen here so far. I'm going to do some quick calculations here. And they did give Harrop an error on that last ground ball. There's 4 hits on the scoreboard. Smoot with 1, Blackhurst with 1, Zach Peterson with 1, and then Chase Merrill with 1. So that would make the 4th error on the scoreboard. And here comes Zach Peterson. Peterson had a single and scored a run here already in the inning. And the delivery on its way is going to be in there for a called strike, and it's no balls and a strike. No balls and 1 strike. They count on Zach Peterson. Nielsen gets the sign from Jewell behind home plate and delivers home the 0-1 pitch that swung on and pulled foul down the right field line. It's 0-2. They count on Zach Peterson. Seven runs on 4 hits for Pleasant Grove. All those hits here have come in this inning along with the runs. No balls and 2 strikes. Nielsen set from the stretch. Runners get their leads on the corners, and the 0-2 pitch low and in the dirt for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 2nd inning from Brent Brown Ballpark. An elimination game here at the state tournament. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners gets their lead. Blackhurst gets his lead at first. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Zach Peterson down on strikes. The 2nd inning is over, but Pleasant Grove has done the damage. They get 7 runs in the top of the 2nd inning. We head to the bottom of the 2nd here at Brent Brown Ballpark. It's Pleasant Grove 7, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Back here at Brent Brown Ballpark, we move to the bottom of the 2nd inning. The Layton Lancers are coming up, and right now they have some work to do as they trail this one 7-0 here to the Pleasant Grove Vikings. And Braden Collinswood will step in and lead off. Collinswood, the 3rd baseman, and the first pitch is in there at the knees for a called strike, and it's 0-1. No balls and a strike, and the delivery swung on. Line drive hit right at Zach Peterson in center field. He's there, and he'll make the catch, and there's 1 out in the 2nd. So 1 out, that's going to bring up Edgar Aguilar to the plate. So Aguilar will step in here to the plate. And he swings and misses at the first pitch. It's no balls and a strike. No balls and 1 strike to count on Aguilar, and he takes that one away for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Edgar Aguilar playing second base on the night. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch swings, and that one's lined up over to short, over the leaping shortstop Wild. He knocked it down, but it will go for a base hit, and Layton has their first base runner of the ball game. So their first base runner and their first hit, and now that's going to bring to the plate the catcher Brady Jewell.
The catcher number 27, Brady Jewell.
So Jewell will stand in here with 1 away. Jewell having to play his 2nd straight game, and that one's taken away for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 count here coming to Jewell. Jewell hitting from the right side, tad open stance. The pitch swung on line, right back up the middle for a base hit. So back-to-back singles here for Layton, and now Rusty Wilbert's going to come to the plate here with 1 away in the inning. So the center fielder, Rusty Wilbert, steps in for his first at-bat here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Easton Walker sets and delivers home, and that's pitches away for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. We have actually a runner for Layton. That's number 10, Chase Mountier, running over at first base here for Layton. 1 ball and no strikes. The pitch comes, swung on, and fouled back, and leaving the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. So Mountier courtesy running for Jewell. 1 ball and 1 strike here on Rusty Wilbert, the center fielder. The 1-1 pitch, that's in there for a called strike at the knees. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Easton Walker on the mound. Has worked well, and that one's high for a ball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's trying to get his Vikings into the state championship game. And a 2-2 count here coming to Rusty Wilbert. And the 2-2 pitch on its way. Wilbert takes that one just off the plate, ball 3. And the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Edgar Aguilar running at second base. Chase Mountier running over at first for Layton. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on, that one's hit to left. Pretty deep, in fact. Sending Scott back. He is going to make the catch up on the warning track. Runners won't be able to tag, and there's 2 outs. So 2 outs here in the 2nd inning, and Preston Day will come to the plate, number 24. Day, the designated hitter. Will stand in. Where's number 24? Hits from the right side. A straight, even stance in the batter's box, and the pitch comes, and he swings and misses. They're going to say he tried to hold up, but he did go around, and it's 0-1. Frankie Aguilar on deck for Layton. No balls and a strike, working from the stretch, and Walker delivers home. That one swung on and missed, and it's 0-2. So Walker's really settled back down after giving up the couple of hits. And when you're a pitcher who pitches around the plate, you're going to give up your hits here and there. The 0-2 pitch, Walker delivers, swung on and missed, strike 3. Walker's got his 3rd strikeout of the night, and Layton is down, but they do get 2 men on in the 2nd inning. But at the end of 2 complete from Brent Brown Ballpark, it's Pleasant Grove 7, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Pleasant Grove Vikings lead this one 7-0 as we start the top of the third inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. 9-1-2 coming up. Matthew Wild, Easton Walker, and Ben Eldridge coming up against the right-hander Pete Nielsen, who will start the third. And the first pitch is taken away for a ball as it gets back to the backstop. It's 1-0. Wild hit a ball onto the warning track in the second inning that Chavez tried to make the catch and dropped, and they gave Chavez an error, so Wild reached on an error. That one comes up over Wild's head. It's 2 balls and no strikes. And the 2-0 pitch on its way. That one high again and up over the head of Wild, and it's 3-0. So 3 balls and no strikes the count to the Pleasant Grove shortstop. And the 3-0 delivery on its way is going to be in there for a called strike, and it's 3-1. Wild thought that was just a tad too far inside, started heading towards first, and then got rung up for the called strike. So 3 balls and a strike, and the kick and the delivery on its way home is high, ball 4. And Matthew Wild's on to start the third inning. And now back to the top of the Pleasant Grove lineup and Easton Walker. Walker has flown out to center, and he also grounded back to the pitcher, or grounded out to the first baseman. So he's 0 for 2 tonight, as he'll come up here in the third. Runner gets his lead as Matthew Wild over at first. Nielsen back to working from the stretch. And the pitch comes inside and low for a ball, and it's 1-0. Collinwood playing in on the third base grass. 1 ball and no strikes, and the kick and the delivery home. Swung on by Walker, tapped to short. It's going to be fielded by Frankie Aguilar. His throw not in time, and so everyone is safe. So Pleasant Grove finding ways to get men on base via walks, via errors, and now showing they can get them on infield base hits. And now that brings up Ben Eldridge. So we'll see how Pleasant Grove wants to play this, if they'll sacrifice bunt and move people around here, as some signs come out from the Pleasant Grove head coach. Ben Eldridge on the night is officially reached on 2 errors and has come around to score a run. And the first pitch to Eldridge, he'll square a bunt, lays it down, but it's foul. Be no balls and a strike. No balls and 1 strike the count to Ben Eldridge. Pleasant Grove wearing their white tops, blue socks, and in the dark blue. Layton in the dark blue tops, white pants, and kind of I want to say a powder blue or a sky blue for their socks. No balls and a strike. Harop comes in, plays about a step onto the infield grass. No balls and a strike. Bunt show. Lays this one down, and it's going to go foul. It'll be no balls and 2 strikes here to Ben Eldridge. So Eldridge going to likely here with the 0-2 count, after not being able to get the bunt down, will likely go ahead and take a swing. The Layton infield will move back, not really anticipating a bunt here. On this Thursday night for high school baseball in the state of Utah. No balls and 2 strikes, set, ready to go. The kick and the delivery stays high for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Ben Eldridge. Pete Nielsen working here in the third inning. Has a 1 ball, 2 strike count to Ben Eldridge. Nielsen checks the runner at second and delivers home the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled back, and Eldridge able to stay alive, and we'll redo the 1-2. Running on the base pass for Pleasant Grove, Matthew Wild, the shortstop at second. And I believe that's Easton Walker, the pitcher, running over at first. Harop playing in front of Walker at first base. The 1-2 pitch coming home is bounces in the dirt. It's going to skip to the backstop. Not quite all the way to the backstop, but far enough for Wild and Walker to both move up. And it will even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ben Eldridge. So 2 balls and 2 strikes, nobody gone here in the third. Nielsen set, working from the windup. And he kicks and delivers home the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, that one's hit well to center field. Wilbert going back, he dives and can't make the play. It's going to roll the wall. Coming in and scoring will be Wild. Right behind him is Walker. Going to third and going to be diving head first is Ben Eldridge. And what I would think they would give him a triple on that. And 2 more runs score for the Vikings. And it's 8 and now 9-0 Pleasant Grove. And they will give Eldridge a triple and credit him with 2 RBIs. And now Peyton Henry, the catcher. And now I think for sure we will have a pitching change here. This is the first visit of the inning. Your coaches are allowed 2 visits each inning to the mound. On the second one, they do have to make a change. And so now we'll see here just exactly what Layton chooses to do. And I'm very easily thinking they will make a change. We'll take a short break. In the top of the third inning at Brent Brown Ballpark, it's Pleasant Grove 9, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Pitching change for Layton. They're going to bring in their left fielder. It's going to be number 13, Quentin Marcelin, to come in and pitch here. And he'll get Peyton Henry here in the third. And the first pitch is low and inside for a ball. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. 7 runs in the second, 2 more added, and a runner on at third with nobody out for Pleasant Grove. The 1-0 pitch, Marcelin delivers that one behind Peyton Henry, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. 2 balls and no strikes to count. Henry has flown out to right and walked and scored, and this one swung on and fouled over by the Layton dugout, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Winner of this one gets Jordan in the state championship tomorrow at 1:30. The 4A state championship will be the first game at 11 a.m. And the 2-1 pitch on its way comes inside and tight, ball 3. And the count goes to 3 balls and a strike to Peyton Henry. Layton looking like they might cut the run down at the plate if they can. The 3-1 pitch comes in and behind, and so Henry will take first base on the walk. And won't be surprised here if they lift him for a runner, and they will, and it's going to be Gavin Barr to come back in and run over at first base. So nobody gone, and Jade Smoot will come to the plate. So Smoot on the night walked in the first and then had an RBI double in the second. As Marcelin looks to try to find his way through this as he comes in, and then not the best of circumstances, and the first pitch swung on and missed, and Smoot is down in his count, no balls and a strike. Pretty packed house here tonight for this one. Pleasant Grove being, 20 or so minutes away from Orem. And the 0-1 pitch. Marcelin delivers, runner goes. That was swung and hit into right field for a base hit. So Eldridge will score. Barr will head down to third, and it's 10-0 Pleasant Grove here in the third. So credit Smoot with an RBI single. His second RBI of the night, and Braden Scott will come to the plate. Scott has struck out swinging and was hit by a pitch and came around to score in the second. Runners over on the corners will be Gavin Barr at third, and it will be Jade Smoot over at first for Pleasant Grove. Marcelin working here from the stretch will peer in and get the sign from Jewell behind home plate. And the pitch on its way, swung on and grounded foul over by the Layton dugout. It's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to count. As everyone gets set, the Layton outfield playing pretty straight away. Still nobody out here in the third inning. Runners on the corners. An 0-1 pitch on its way here, and the delivery comes. That one is going to be just off the plate for a ball, and evens the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Chase Merrill on deck for Pleasant Grove. Get some new baseballs out here. Here's a quick visit from Jewell out to Marcelin here. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Braden Scott. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Marcelin sets, delivers home, and that pitch right on the outside corner for a called strike, and it's 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. And Braden Scott looking for an RBI single. Marcelin here looking for the first out of the third inning. Double play depth up the middle, and the runner goes. That one swung on, popped up. It's going to be playable for Jewell. Marcelin, the pitcher, coming over. Jewell's going to try to make the basket catch, but it looks like the ball went foul. I still haven't seen an official ruling, but it looks like everything did go foul. Everyone's, as Scott is heading back into the batter's box. So 1 ball and 2 strikes in the top of the third. Pleasant Grove with 3 runs in here in the inning already. Outfield straight away, infield up the middle, double play depth, corners are in. Harop holding on Smoot, and that one outside for a ball, and the count even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jewell will go out, have another quick word with Marcelin here. Make sure they're on the same page. As some action goes now in the Pleasant Grove bullpen, and so it's interesting to see that as a move here in this kind of a game, but maybe a move you can only throw so many innings per week. So maybe a move here by Pleasant Grove to pull their starter and save him for tomorrow against Bountiful. Runner goes, they're going to get Smoot caught in a rundown as it goes over to the first baseman, back to the shortstop, and they're going to go now over, and now going to get caught as Barr at third. He dives back to third. They got him. And so Pleasant Grove not just gets Jade Smoot caught stealing, but also Gavin Barr gets caught in the rundown, and there's quickly 2 outs here in the inning. I'm not going to attempt to score that. I'm just going to score that a caught stealing, because it went from 1 to 4 to 3 to 6 to 3, I think back to 6. Something like that anyway. There's a lot of 3s and a lot of 6s, so I'm just going to do the short way and say caught stealing. So the 2-2 pitch is on its way, swung on and fouled back by Scott. And also picked off at third was Gavin Barr. That one a little more easier. That was 6 to 5 for the second out. So 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Braden Scott. And the kick and the delivery on its way home. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Marshland comes in to get the strikeout. And Pleasant Grove does score 3. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning at Brent Brown Ballpark. It's Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Back here on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com, we head to the bottom of the 3rd at Brent Brown Ballpark. The Layton Lancers trailing the Pleasant Grove Vikings 10-0. A new pitcher for Pleasant Grove. It's going to be number 10 coming in to pitch for Pleasant Grove. That's going to be Brandon Coombs, number 20, or number 10, coming in. And he'll face Frankie Aguilar. And the first pitch home is swung on and chopped to short. It's going to be fielded by Wild. He's going to have to make a quick throw, and he does. And it's in time. There's 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. So an interesting move when your starting pitcher has really pitched well through 2 innings. But when you have a 10-0 lead, and he's pitched so well, and then you get ready for understanding you potentially have to play 2 tomorrow against Bountiful, likely could pay out to be a smart move if you're Pleasant Grove. And back to the top of the Layton lineup, and Caleb Harrop, who takes a called strike, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Harrop 0 for 1 tonight, flew out to right in his first at-bat. The 0-1 pitch is just off the plate for a ball and evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike. State championship game tomorrow begins at 11 a.m. for the 4A. That one's lined fair down the left field line for a base hit. Harrop will make the turnaround first and will hold, and he's got himself a 1-out single here in the 3rd. And that's going to bring up Josephat Chavez. Chavez on the night, 0 for 1, went down swinging. And now we'll see here exactly what he can do with one away. Runner over at first. Harrop gets his lead. Coombs is set on the mound and delivers home. The first pitch in there at the knees for a strike, and it's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. Coombs is set and delivers home, and that one swung on, popped up on the infield. Bullock at third base going to take it, and he makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. In fact, there's been some defensive changes. That was Wild, who has moved down to third base. And there's 2 outs for Layton, and Quentin Marcelin will step up. Now playing at third is Matthew Wild, and Easton Walker now moves to shortstop. And the first pitch is in there for a strike to Quentin Marcelin. No balls and a strike. And the 0-1 pitch comes. Marcelin fouls that one away, and it's 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes to count. Marcelin went down swinging back in the first. Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0, bottom of the third. And the 0-2 pitch comes inside for a ball, and it's 1-2. Everyone getting ready for the 1-2 pitch here. And Coombs sets and delivers. That one swung on, hit well to center field. Peterson will get back under it. Backtracking, he makes the catch. And the third inning comes to an end for Layton. So they get the single by Harrop, but he is stranded at the end of 3 complete. It's Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Top half of the 4th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Pleasant Grove coming up. It will be number 7, Chase Merrill, to lead it off. Brody Blackhurst and Zach Peterson, 6, 7, and 8 due up. Merrill on the night had a 2-run RBI single in the second and also lined out to Edgar Aguilar at second. The first pitch is low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Merrill. And the 1-0 pitch, as he kicks and delivers on the way, is in there for a called strike, and it's 1-1. It went off the catcher's glove, but a called strike, and it evens the count on 1-1. Set, ready to go once again. The 1-1 pitch. Set and kicks and delivers home. That one's low and inside for a ball, and the count moves to 2 balls and a strike. So 2-1. Marcelin set on the hill, ready to go. Gets the sign from Jewell and delivers home. That's 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, and leaving the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So now the count is even to Chase Merrill, the right fielder. And the 2-2 pitch, Marcelin gets the sign and kicks and delivers home. Comes inside and bounces in for ball 3, and the count runs 3 balls and 2 strikes. So a full count here to Marcelin now puts him in a position here to see what can happen with the 3-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes, kicks and delivers on the way coming home. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and Chase Merrill down on strikes. And with 1 out here in the 4th, that's going to bring Brody Blackhurst to the plate. The second strikeout of the night for Marcelin, and the left-handed hitting Blackhurst will stand in. Had a double and then reached on an error, and the pitch bounces in for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes as it was blocked by Jewell. Blackhurst hit a ball in his last at-bat to first. That Harrop, they officially ruled an error. So that's, I originally ruled that a single, but it was ruled an error officially. 1-0 pitch on its way home. Swung on, popped up in the infield. Frankie Aguilar's there, and he makes the catch. 2 outs. So 2 outs in the 4th inning, and now that's going to bring Zach Peterson, the center fielder, to the plate. In fact, it won't bring Zach Peterson to the plate. It's going to bring number 1 to the plate for Pleasant Grove. Give me 1 second here while I check down my roster. That's Coleman Edwards, a sophomore, will step in here and hit for the Vikings. So Edwards hitting here for Peterson in the 4th. And Edwards in the box from the right side. Marcelin delivers, and that bounces in there for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. The first at-bat of the night for Edwards. Hitting from the right side, and he's set, ready to go. 1 ball and no strikes, the pitch on its way. That's on the outside corner for a called strike. And it evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike as the lights begin to take majority of the effect here at the ballpark tonight. As we approach 10 minutes to 9, the 1-1 pitch. Marcelin delivers. That one swung on and fouled away, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. So 1-2 the count on Coleman Edwards pinch hitting. And Marcelin gets the sign from Jewell, kicks and delivers home. And that one swung on and grounded foul over towards the Layton dugout. And we'll redo the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Winner gets ready to play tomorrow at 1:30, or a scheduled 1:30 first pitch. And the 1-2 pitch on its way home is swung on and fouled back, and we'll redo the 1 ball, 2 strike count. So 1 ball, 2 strikes to Coleman Edwards, hitting in the 8th spot for Pleasant Grove. And the 1-2 pitch, Marcelin kicks and delivers, and that one's low, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 4th. Marcelin sets and will kick and deliver home the 2-2 pitch, and that one's low and away for a ball. And the count runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Matthew Wild in the on-deck circle, number 2 for Pleasant Grove. Three balls and 2 strikes. The kick and the delivery comes. Low and inside, ball 4, and Coleman Edwards is on here in the 4th. So Edwards reaches on the walk, and now Matthew Wild will stand in. Wild, the shortstop, has reached on an error and scored, and also walked and came around to score. He scored 2 of the Pleasant Grove 10 runs tonight. Edwards gets his lead at first. Marcelin working from the stretch. will deliver home, and that one's going to bounce away, trying to take second base, and will be Edwards, and it's a 1-0 count on Wild. So Pleasant Grove puts another base runner in scoring position tonight. And with 1 ball and no strikes to count here, it will be Jewell to head out and have a quick word with his starting pitcher. Or not with his starting pitcher, but with his relief pitcher, Marcelin. 1 ball and no strikes to the count on Matthew Wild. Marcelin working from the stretch. And the 1-0 pitch is delivered home. Swung on, chopped to third, fielded cleanly, and the throw across in plenty of time, and the 4th inning is over. So Pleasant Grove gets 1 on the base pass, but is stranded. We head to the bottom of the 4th at Brent Brown Ballpark. Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. So bottom half of the 4th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. The Layton Lancers are coming up 4, 5, and 6. Braden Collingwood will go ahead and lead off this inning, and the first pitch is high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 pitch set ready to come, and that's going to just miss the outside corner. It's quickly 2-0 to Collinswood. Brandon Coombs on the mound is going to deliver home, and this pitch bounces in ball 3. And it's now 3 balls and no strikes. So the 3-0 pitch comes home, and that's low ball 4. And a 4-pitch walk has the leadoff man on for Layton here in the bottom of the 4th. And Edgar Aguilar to come to the plate. Aguilar on the night singled back in the 2nd inning. Singled back in the 2nd inning and then got stranded on the base paths. Coombs is set and delivers home. The first pitch is in there at the knees, and it's no balls and a strike. No balls and 1 strike here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0, and the 0-1 pitch swung on and chopped foul over by the Layton dugout, and it's quickly 0-2 to Edgar Aguilar. No balls and 2 strikes. Set, ready to go, delivers home. That one swung on, popped up into center field. Coming in is Peterson. He will make the catch. There's 1 away. In fact, that's not Peterson in center field. And that's actually only 1 out, not 2. As that was Coleman Edwards, who's remained in the game to play center field. And the catcher now, Brady Jewell, will come to the plate. Jewell 1 for 1 tonight, had a single in the 2nd. And Coombs delivers the first pitch. That one's lined right to center. Edwards coming on. It's going to remain up there for him to make the catch. And there's quickly 2 outs here in the 4th. And Rusty Wilbert, the center fielder, coming up for Layton. Another hard hit ball off the Layton bats, but it's just been hit right at the same person. So the first pitch taken for a called strike, and it's no balls and a strike to Rusty Wilbert. Wilbert 0 for 1, flew out to left in his first at bat back in the 2nd. The pitch comes in, and he swings and fouls that one away. It looks like he might have twisted something. He kind of came up, kind of limping there. It's no balls and 2 strikes to the count on Wilbert. Wilbert has flown out to left in the 2nd inning. And the no 0-2 pitch, that one comes high and tight. It even makes the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Preston Day on deck for Layton. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ready to go, and the right-hander delivers, and that one swung on and missed, strike 3. And the side is retired for Layton. So they get the leadoff walk, but then go 1, 2, 3. We head to the top of the 5th at Brent Brown Ballpark. Pleasant Grove 10, Layton 0. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Top half of the 5th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. Pleasant Grove will come up with the top of the lineup, and Easton Walker will stand in to lead off the 5th inning. Walker has singled, grounded out to first, and flown out to center tonight. Marshland sets and kicks and delivers the first pitch home, which is high for ball 1, 1 ball and no strikes. It'll be Walker, Eldridge, and Henry, 1, 2, and 3 coming up in the 5th for Pleasant Grove. The 1-0 pitch, Marshland delivers, that one swung on and popped up into right field. Chavez back deep, and he'll make the catch, and there's 1 out. Ben Eldridge, the second baseman, will come to the plate now. Eldridge has reached on 2 errors, scored once in the 2nd, and had a 2 RBI triple in the 3rd. And then he came around to score in that same inning. Hitting in the number 2 spot for the Vikings tonight. And Marshland gets the sign and will deliver home the first pitch. And a bunt showed, and he pulls it back and takes a ball 1, 1 ball and no strikes. Collinwood was playing back at 3rd base. I don't think he will play quite that far back this time, and he won't. He'll play about a step or 2 in front of the 3rd base bag. 1 ball and no strikes, the kick and the delivery home, and that's high for ball 2, and it's 2-0. In the bottom half of the inning, Layton needs at least 1 run to continue this ball game. If they don't score, this ball game would end via the 10-run rule. The 2-0 pitch on its way, and Eldridge pops it up over towards the Pleasant Grove dugout, and it's going to go foul. And it'll make the count 2 balls and a strike. Harrup, Jewell, and Marshland, all 3 went sprinting over to try to get that. But in the end, it did end up going foul. So 2 balls and a strike to count on Ben Eldridge. Eldridge set. In the batter's box, Marshland will kick and deliver home the 2-1 pitch. And that bounces in the dirt for ball 3. And the count moves to 3 balls and 1 strike. So 3-1 the count. Eldridge is set in the batter's box, and the 3-1 delivery on its way home. Swung on and hit deep to left field, and the ball went foul, and the count will go full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Eldridge hit that one deep. In fact, I think by the looks of the fans and all that, there's a wall that sits beyond the left field foul pole, and I think that ball cleared that wall and went out towards the fountains in left field. A 3-2 pitch. Eldridge fouls that one away, this time to the right side, and we'll redo the 3-2. And if he did hit that, that would be quite the ball hit off the bat, because that is deep there to left field. But it was fouled. So 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the delivery to Eldridge as he swings, and this time will roll over on one and foul it off over by the Layton dugout. And right now we're staying alive here. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 away in the top half of the 5th inning. Eldridge is set in the right-handed batter's box, and he kicks and delivers on the way home. Swung on a line, back up the middle into center field. So Eldridge has himself a 1-out single, and that's going to bring Peyton Henry to the plate. Henry has flown out to right and then walked twice on the night. And we'll see here with 1 away what Pleasant Grove will do. Good speed with Eldridge on first. He's already stolen a base once tonight. Gets a pretty big lead here. And Marcelin sets and will deliver home. And the first pitch is swung on and popped high up into center field. Wilbert is there. Now he lost it, and he's going to run over and make the catch. He was in dead center field, and I think the wind carried that ball as it started to fall. The wind is starting to pick up here at the ballpark and almost blew it into right field over by Chavez, but Wilbert ran it down, and there's 2 outs here in the 5th inning. And Jade Smoot will come in with 2 outs here. Smoot has an RBI double tonight, an RBI single, and also a walk. And the runner over at first, Ben Eldridge, gets his lead. Set, ready to go, and the delivery on its way. Runner goes, Smoot swings, hits that one through the right side. Eldridge will hit second, he will go to third, and the Vikings have runners on the corners with 2 away. So the 3rd hit of the night for Jade Smoot, the 4th time tonight he's been on the base paths, and Braden Scott will come to the plate with 2 outs. And now coming out here to have a word will be Jewell. And also the first baseman, Harp will come over and make sure here. And now they'll relay the defense out to everyone, let them know how they're going to play this 1st and 3rd. We saw Pleasant Grove take a chance earlier in the game, 1st and 3rd. And they actually ended up getting both guys out as Layton caught the runner from first going to second in the rundown, tagged him out, and then caught the runner at third, kind of halfway in between home and third, and nailed him trying to get home himself. So with 2 outs, Braden Scott stays in, and the pitch comes, and that one's inside and low for a ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Chase Merrill, the right fielder, will be on deck. 1 ball and no strikes. And the kick and the delivery home. That one swung on inside and it hit Braden Scott. And so the Vikings will load the bases here with 2 away in the 5th inning. And Chase Merrill will come to the plate. So Merrill on the night has lined out to second. Later on in the 2nd inning during his at-bat, he had a 2-run single. And then in the 4th inning, he went down on strikes swinging. So with 2 outs here, he'll look to give the Vikings an extra run or 2 here in the 5th. And Marcelin delivers the first pitch, and that's going to be high and away for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Vikings have the bases loaded with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Back in the 3rd, they scored 3 runs with 2 outs in the inning. And the 1-0 pitch is in there on the outside corner, and the count is even at 1-1. So the count goes even here, 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs in the inning. And Chase Merrill stands back in. Marcelin set and kicks and delivers the 1-1 pitch. That's inside and it hit Chase Merrill. Coming in to score will be Ben Eldridge. and it's 11-0 Pleasant Grove. Jade Smoot will go to third. Braden Scott up to second. Chase Merrill, credit him with the RBI and the hit by pitch. And now Brody Blackhurst will come to the plate. Blackhurst tonight doubled, had reached on an error and then popped out to short back in his last at bat in the fourth. And the pitch. This one comes inside and gets to the backstop. Coming in to score will be Jade Smoot, and it's 12-0 Vikings. Braden Scott moves to third. Chase Merrill moves up to second. And Brody Blackhurst, well, he just takes ball one. 1 ball and no strikes the count to Blackhurst. Marcelin set, delivers that one low in the dirt for ball 2, and it's 2-0. Coleman Edwards in the on-deck circle for Pleasant Grove. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Marcelin set on the hill and will kick and deliver home the 2-0 pitch. That one's high, ball 3, and now it's 3 balls and no strikes. So 3 balls and no strikes the count here on Blackhurst. And Marcelin looks in, gets the 3-0 sign, and delivers home. And that one's low and away, ball 4, and the Vikings have loaded the bases again here with 2 outs. So Pleasant Grove's done a great job with 2-out hitting. We're going to have a visit here to the mound by, I believe, the head coach for Layton. He's going to come on out here. They do have somebody throwing in the bullpen. And we'll see here if they make the move to decide to go to the bullpen or if they'll let Marcelin try to keep this one going. 12 runs in, so Layton will now need 2 runs in the bottom half of the inning, or actually 3, to extend this ball game. And due up, it's going to be Coleman Edwards. And we will have a pitching change. We'll take a short break, introduce you to the new Layton pitcher. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. In the 5th inning, it's Pleasant Grove 12, Layton 0. Bottom of the 5th inning here at Brent Brown Ballpark. The new pitcher for Layton will be number 12, Morgan Williams, will come in. The sophomore right-hander. The conference on the mound has concluded. And now Coleman Edwards will step into the box. Edwards walked in his only plate appearance in the 4th inning. And right now the bases are full here for Pleasant Grove. Braden Scott running at third, Chase Merrill at second, and Brody Blackhurst running at first for the Vikings. 2 runs in here in the 5th inning. And they're set, ready to go. And Williams delivers the pitch, and that's swung on and popped up, and it's going to go foul. No balls and 1 strike to count on Coleman Edwards. Runners will get their leads here as Layton looking for that final out of the 5th inning. The 0-1 pitch and the delivery on its way comes low and inside for a ball, and the count's even at 1-1. A pinch hitter getting in the on-deck circle for Pleasant Grove. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. That's Gavin Barr in the on-deck circle for the Vikings. 1 ball and 1 strike. The kick and the delivery home. That one high and tight. And it's taken for a ball, 2-1, as Coleman Edwards kind of turned out of the way of that one. Came up around his head. So 2 balls and a strike. Morgan Williams is working from the windup here. And he'll kick and deliver home. And that one swung on and missed. And the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So the infield for Layton will be back in regular depth. The outfield playing pretty straight away here, with 2 outs in the 5th. And the 2-2 pitch will be on its way from Morgan Williams. And that's swung on and fouled back, and we'll redo the 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Braden Scott at third, Chase Merrill at second, Brody Blackhurst at first for Pleasant Grove. And the 2-2 delivery on its way is swung on and popped up into right field. Chavez is out there. He will make the catch, and the 5th inning comes to the end for the Vikings, but they do add 2 heading to the bottom of the 5th. It's Pleasant Grove 12, Layton 0. Layton needs at least 3 to extend this ball game. We'll find out if the Lancers can do it. You're listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com. Bottom half of the 5th inning starting here. Pleasant Grove 12, Layton 0. It will be 8, 9, and 1. Preston Day, Frankie Aguilar, and Caleb Harple to come up. So here goes Preston Day, 0 for 1 tonight. Went down swinging back in the 2nd inning. And he'll face Brandon Coombs still on the mound, and the pitch is going to be in there on the inside corner for a called strike, and it's 0-1. Coombs working pretty quickly, gets the ball, gets set, and delivers the 0-1 pitch, and swung on and fouled back, and it's 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes to the count. Day went down swinging back in the 2nd, and the 0-2 pitch swung on and fouled back. We'll redo the 0-2. And the 0-2 pitch, and that's a fastball. It stays away. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2 pitch on its way, swung on and tapped foul over by the Pleasant Grove dugout. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. And set, ready to go is Preston Day. And the delivery on its way from Coombs is swung on, and this one's lined softly to second. It's caught by Eldridge, and there's one out in the 5th inning. So one out here in the 5th, and Frankie Aguilar will come to the plate. Aguilar, the shortstop, 0 for 1 tonight, grounded out to short back in the 3rd. Coombs is set and delivers home. The first pitch is a breaking ball that sits in there for a called strike, and it's 0-1. Harrop in the on-deck circle for Layton, the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, that's away, and the count will even up at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, and the kick and the delivery home. A breaking ball comes inside and hits Frankie Aguilar, so he will be on here in the 5th and back up to the top of the lineup, and Caleb Harrop. Harrop has popped out to right and singled back in the 3rd. And Harrop will stand in here for his 3rd at-bat of the night here in the 5th inning. Wears number 7, an open stance in the batter's box. Coombs is set, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike as he brought in the breaking ball, and it sat right down Broadway. No balls and a strike. Set, ready to go. The 0-1 delivery on its way, and that's in there at the knees, and it's 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes to count. As Harrop looks to try to extend this one, the 0-2 pitch swung on, grounded to short. It's fielded. They'll go to second for 1, down to first in time for the double play. 6-4-3. It was Walker to Eldridge, down to Blackhurst, and this one is over with. Pleasant Grove defeats Layton 12-0. The final score, the 1:30 state championship game, will feature Jordan and Pleasant Grove. The Vikings will have to win 2 tomorrow to win a state championship. We are back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Spanish Fork takes on Bountiful in the first championship game at 11 a.m. The 1:30 game will be Pleasant Grove against Jordan, and then 2, if necessary, games. We'll have to play the first to find out if we'll have to play the second. Stay tuned tomorrow on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com for more of the 4A and the 5A state baseball tournaments. I'm Ryan Pickens signing off for the entire crew here with me at this one. Once again, our final score, Pleasant Grove 12, Layton 0. You've been listening to the 2014 Class 5A State Baseball Tournament on KSL.com and DeseretNews.com.